Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're gearing up for your Databricks certification, you know that getting a solid grip on PySpark's core functions is absolutely non-negotiable. Today, we are diving deep into one of the real heavy hitters for data summarization, the agg function. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to use it, when to use it, and just as important, when not to.
So let's start with the big question, right? It's one that every single one of us in the data world has to deal with. You're looking at this mountain of data, maybe millions or even billions of rows, and your job is to pull out the story, to find that one key insight, that signal that's hiding in all the noise. How do you actually do that? Well, that's the challenge, and PySpark's aggregation tools are the answer.
Here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off by setting the stage with the data summarization challenge. Then we'll introduce the hero of our story, the agg function, and see it in action. But, every hero has its limits, so we'll look at a critical anti-pattern, a common mistake people make. And that's going to lead us straight to its powerful counterpart, window functions. Finally, we'll put them side by side so you'll have the complete toolkit.
All right, first things first. Let's really frame the problem we're trying to solve here. You get raw data, and it's messy, it's noisy. Your first job, almost always, is to find that signal. And that process, it starts with summarization.
And yeah, this is the whole point, isn't it? We have to find a way to go from looking at every single transaction, every individual event, to seeing the bigger picture. We're trying to answer those high-level questions like, what were our total sales per region, or what's the average customer rating for each product? This isn't just some random task. It's a foundational skill for any kind of data analysis.
So, to tackle this challenge in PySpark, we need a specialized tool. And this is where we bring in our star player for the day, the agg function. It is purpose-built to turn those millions of rows into summaries that actually mean something.
Okay, so what is agg? Well, the name is short for aggregate, and it's a function that lets you perform a bunch of calculations, things like sums, averages, counts, all in one go. Now, the most important part of this entire definition is that last phrase, collapsing the groups into single summary rows. Remember that. It is absolutely crucial because it's the key to understanding both its power and its limitations.
Now here's something you gotta understand. Agg is not a lone wolf. It has a partner in crime, and that partner is groupBy grouping. The workflow is always the same. First, you use groupBy grouping to slice and dice your data into logical buckets, like grouping by department or by product category, and then you unleash agg grouping to run calculations on each of those individual groups. That two-step combo is fundamental.
So what kind of magic can we actually perform inside agg? Well, you've got this awesome toolkit at your disposal. You have the classics for numbers, right? Sum, average, min, max. You've got count to just see how big your groups are. And then you get these super powerful ones like collect list and collect set, which don't just give you a number back, they actually gather up all the values in a group into an array. These are your building blocks for pretty much any summary you can dream up.
All right, enough theory. Let's make this real. Where are you actually going to use this stuff in a day-to-day data pipeline? Let's see where the rubber meets the road. It really boils down to three main areas. First up, reporting. This is the obvious one, right? You need to crunch down raw data into the key metrics that power your dashboards. Second, data analysis. You're just exploring a new data set, and you want to quickly get a feel for its shape, its stats. And third, and this is a huge one for all you machine learning folks, feature engineering. This is where you create powerful new signals for your models, things like a customer's total purchase history or their average time on site.
Okay, let's look at some actual code, because this is what makes it all click. Here we're taking our sales DF, our sales data, and first we group by category. Then we apply agg to do two things at once. We're getting the sum of the quantity and the av of the price. And you see that .alias part? That's just us giving our new columns clean, readable nicknames. The result? A brand new, clean data frame with one summary row for each category. It's so efficient.
All right. So far, agg looks like a superhero, right? It slices, it dices, it summarizes, but, and this is a huge but, every superhero has a weakness. Knowing when not to use a tool is maybe even more important than knowing when to use it. And this is where we have to talk about the agg anti-pattern.
Just think about this for a second. What if you need to calculate something for a group? Let's say the total salary for an entire department, but you also need to have that total available on each individual employee's row. Maybe you want to figure out what percentage of the department total each person's salary represents. How would you do that?
And this gets right to the heart of the problem we hinted at earlier. The agg function, by its very nature, collapses your data. It literally throws away the original rows and just gives you back the summaries. So if you need both the group summary and the original row-level detail, agg is the wrong tool for the job, period.
So if agg can't do that, what can? Well, this brings us to one of the most critical comparisons you'll face on the certification exam and, frankly, in your career: agg versus window functions. This is where window functions step into the spotlight. They are designed to do exactly what we were just talking about. They let you perform those same kinds of calculations, sum, average, rank, but they do it over a window of rows without collapsing them. The result is a new column that gets added back to your original data frame, keeping all that precious row-level context. Now just look at the syntax here, because it really tells the whole story. With agging, the entire operation is chained to groupBy. It's a destructive operation that changes the shape of your data. But look at the window function. You're just using withColumn to add something new. The magic is that .over clause. It tells Spark, hey, run this calculation over this group of rows. But then, and this is the key, it projects that single result back onto every original row in that group. The structure doesn't change, it just gets augmented with new information.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to put these two powerful tools head-to-head to make the choice crystal clear for you. This is the big takeaway for mastering your aggregation skills in PySpark.
This table says it all. You use agg when your purpose is to summarize. You want a smaller table for reports, for dashboards, for high-level metrics. You want fewer rows than you started with. You use window functions when your purpose is to augment or enhance your existing data. You want to perform calculations while retaining all of your original rows. This is your go-to for things like ranking products within a category or calculating a running total over time. Look, if all this boils down to one simple idea that you need to remember for your exam, it's this. Before you write a single line of code, just ask yourself this one question. Am I trying to summarize my data into a smaller table, or am I trying to augment my data by adding a new calculated column to my existing rows? Your answer tells you immediately whether you need agg or a window function.
So, with that clear distinction in your mind, you are ready. You can take on any aggregation challenge that comes your way. And trust me, making the right choice here isn't just about passing a test. It's about writing cleaner, faster, and way more powerful data pipelines in the real world. So the only question left is, which challenge are you going to solve first?